So you want to be a footballer. You spend your days juggling, dribbling, diving, sliding, tackling, copying the moves used by your heroes, Ronaldo, Messi, and Maradona. You pretend you're smashing in the winning goal like Drogba, Holland, Mbappe, or Cantona. Your days and nights are consumed with one thought, one hope, one dream, becoming a professional footballer. You imagine leading your team at the theater of dreams or giving the cops something to roar about at Anfield on a European night. Or walking out at the Bernabeu wearing the strip of beautiful Barcelona or the Galacticos of Madrid, where you will decide El Clasico. You dream of wearing your team's national colors, fighting for national pride. You dream of becoming a national treasure, a household name at home and abroad. You plan to be a legend. You want to be a professional. We're here to talk about the path to becoming a professional player and how you need to educate yourself to make sure that the dream that you have, if you are blessed enough to have the opportunity to live it, doesn't turn into a living nightmare or a dystopian adventure where you find yourself and your family in a situation or a position where every decision is a bad one and you can't figure out how it all went wrong when it all seemed to be going so right. Because football, while it is a beautiful game, is a business. The football industry is corrupt. It is, in many instances, nothing more than sanctioned and poorly regulated human trafficking. It is an acceptable way in the modern era for men who come from wealth and opportunity to take advantage of those who come from nothing. It's filled with men that approach the game like simple street mafia and present themselves to you and your family as the proverbial wolves in sheep's clothing. Or worse yet, they present themselves to you as hope, as the key to your dreams. You have to understand that these men see footballers as commodities. You're not people. You're a dollar sign. You're a contract. You're an earning. You're an income statement. But these men only dream of exploiting your talent and taking advantage of your desperation and lack of opportunity. To be fair, some of them don't even pretend. They just tell you what they are, and they tell you you can take it or leave it. And for those of you in desperate situations, oftentimes you just take whatever's offered. It's the only opportunity you think you're ever going to have. And generally, this is where the downward spiral begins. This is where things begin to go wrong. These devils in suit and ties, with their immorality, greed, unethical conduct, criminality, and immorality, they corrupt the very hope that the game provides. Imagine a small group of greedy men abuse the game that has literally brought wars to an end and brings the world together every 4 years. They risk all of the beauty of that game for a few dollars more. You need to know how to protect yourself from them. They can't get away with it if you're educated and understand your rights as a player and as a human being. One bad decision can change everything. It can turn your dream into a horror show. But if you listen to this podcast, if you join us here at the Football Life, and you learn the lessons of our guests and take on the information offered here, you'll have a much better chance of making the right decisions, of making good decisions. And good decisions, make no mistake about it, lead to good lives. And if you make the right decisions, no one can stand in the way of you living your dream. But I want to talk about the dark side of football because I want to educate you. I want you to learn what to look out for in the business of football because your journey, okay, your very personal journey to becoming a professional footballer doesn't begin once you leave your local pitch and you put on your first professional jersey. Your professional career began the moment you started to dream of playing professionally. Every conversation you have with a local manager or with an intermediary or agent or a local club where you will showcase and develop your talent requires good decision making because these choices and these conversations can and often will shape your future. If you plan to be a professional, football is your business. It's your career. And we need to talk about how you should prepare yourself for that, especially for those of you that come from places where there isn't a lot of education or the educational standards aren't the highest because your families had to struggle just to eat. I understand your struggles. I've seen them. I've visited Africa dozens of times and scouted literally thousands of players across the continent. Some of them have gone on to have incredible careers in the English Premier League, Scandinavia, and the Gulf. I've scouted players and negotiated deals on 5 continents. Africa captured my attention and my heart since my first trip to Ghana in January of 2010. But the stories and advice we'll be sharing on the Football Life podcast will apply to all of you young dreamers. Good decisions are good decisions no matter where you are in the world. We're going to tell you stories, tales of caution and tales of success. We're going to give you tips and provide you with valuable information. Our guests, made up of ex-players, agents, club administrators, current players, and lawyers, will share their stories and advice. It may seem from time to time like I'm focusing on failure and mistakes more than I am on successes. And that will probably be true, but not because I think you're going to fail or I'm wishing failure on you. In fact, it's the opposite. I want nothing but success for you. And we can learn so much from failure, both from our own failures and the failures of others. We can learn important lessons from hearing how others fell down on the very path we are walking on together. The game is beautiful, but the industry is corrupt. Football is filled with the most nefarious characters you can imagine. You can take folklore from all of your nations, from all of your traditions, from all of your cultures, and the boogeyman exists right here in football. And let me tell you, the devil usually wears a suit and tie or a tracksuit. This podcast aims to empower you. It aims to give you the information necessary for you to make informed decisions that allow you to have a long and prosperous career so that you pick the right team and you pick the right people to surround you. Most footballers who failed will tell you a story about trusting the wrong people. And sadly, more often than not, it was a family member or a trusted agent or lawyer or elder that led them down the path of ruin. Stories we will cover from the ugly side of football include bribery, fraud, corruption, fathers stealing from their sons, brothers stealing from brothers, fisticuffs between players and agents, national team coaches that make their selections based on money rather than merit, hired mercenaries, African warlords, money laundering, extortion, human trafficking, blackmail, judicial corruption, kidnapping, and yes, even murder. Anyway, this is the beginning of the journey we're going to take together. Every episode, we will answer viewer emails, and from time to time, when we are live, we will answer questions on air. You can email me at thefootballlife@protonmail.com. That is thefootballlife@protonmail.com. Now, to make sure that I'm protecting myself and my guests, let me be clear. Our advice is life advice. It isn't legal advice. It isn't therapeutic advice. If you have a contract in front of you, you need a good lawyer. You need a lawyer that specializes in sports law and has a history of working on complex commercial issues. If you have emotional issues, you need a top therapist. We are here as a guidepost, not as a professional service. I'm not a licensed psychologist, therapist, or attorney, even though I do have a legal background. This is just advice from someone who's been in the industry for a very long time. The game can be beautiful, but the industry is corrupt. Enough with the corruption, enough of agents, coaches, and administrators taking advantage of players, enough of players making terrible decisions that affect everyone around them, including themselves, enough with the backroom deals. It's time to take football back. Our journey begins with the educated player. Let's work together to prepare you to face the difficulties you will encounter on your career path, both on and off the pitch. Let's find a way forward where you can succeed and we can all succeed together in making the beautiful game beautiful again. This is The Football Life.